Hey guys, today I'm going to be filming a video about like hospital story times and like basically just like some stories that I have to share about like my thyroid cancer. So yeah, it's just like I've been wanting to like it's kind of like a part 2 to my story, like that video. So if you haven't seen that first, go watch it and then come back to watch this video. But yeah, so I just wanted to like make this video and like share some stories about like what happened and stuff like during the time I was in the hospital, because I really didn't talk about it in the part 1 video because otherwise it would have been like a 30-minute long video. So that's why I decided to make a part 2 and then like some other stories too that I haven't told really anyone. So if you want to listen to those and hear what happened, keep on watching. Alright, so I found out on a Monday that I had cancer, and then my mom found out that this woman from my church had like the same thing and she was just getting over it. Like it happened like a few months before like I was diagnosed with cancer. Like she had the same exact cancer and everything. She had like the same surgery and like she was already getting her medicine and everything. And so we like set up a meeting with her to talk on like the following Wednesday, which is like 2 days later. And like talking to her like made me feel more comfort and stuff during the whole like process, because she went through it and stuff, and then like her surgery was successful and her medicine was like helping her, and she said that like she, like, I don't know, she just gave me like comfort to the situation, because she said that people who have like problems with their thyroid, it's better to remove the thyroid and stuff, and then instead of like waiting to get cancer, because like it helped like that much. So I don't know, it was like comforting to hear her like say that, and like it was like, you know, like for my own comfort and stuff to like know that I would be okay through the whole situation. I found out that my 7th grade social studies teacher just went through it like even like maybe a month before me or something like that, and it was super close to my timing and everything, and she already had like the surgery and stuff, and like I don't know, it was just like comforting to talk to her too. So like she called me, and me and her had like maybe like a half-hour conversation on the phone about like what happened with her and stuff, and then she like gave me comfort in that situation. So those two women helped me through like the comfort area. So this is where it starts to get weird, because I've never met anyone that had thyroid cancer or like really any problems with their thyroid at all and stuff, and I didn't even know what a thyroid was until like maybe a year ago or 2 years ago. So after I had the surgery and I went to the hospital to like start working on like my medicine and everything, and like schedule it with my endocrinologist, which is like thyroid specialist if you didn't know. And one of like the nurses there, like that was getting my weight and everything, and like my what's the word, vitals, that's the word, yep. She was like taking my weight and stuff, and like my blood pressure and all that stuff. And she asked me, because I had like that like thing on my neck, I'll insert a picture here if you don't know what I'm talking about, but like I had that on because it was right after my surgery, and she was like, did you just get your surgery done? And then I was like, yeah. And then she started talking, and she was like, I had my thyroid out too and stuff, and I had thyroid cancer. And then I like looked at her neck and stuff, and I noticed like a scar like mine, but it was like less visible. Like I didn't even notice it at first until she said something. And so she was like telling me about her story with that, and so I was like, wow, it's like really cool to meet someone that like, I don't know, it's just like weird how like 3 different people had the same thing happen to them, and then they all came into my life and stuff. And, like I didn't go looking for them and stuff, they just like were there, you know? I don't know, I thought that was cool. And so she was telling me that like after the surgery, because there's like a risk of like damaging your vocal cords, so like she's telling me that after her surgery she was super loud, and then after her surgery her voice was like really soft and everything. And I was talking to my mom after that, and she's like, I think she was an angel sent from God to comfort us in this situation and stuff, and let us know that everything was going to be okay afterwards with the adjusting and everything, because her voice was just like so like peaceful and everything, and it was like comforting. Then after my surgery we went to Buffalo Wild Wings, and we usually sit inside the restaurant. Keep in mind, we usually sit inside the restaurant. So my sister Sierra was like, hey, let's go eat outside on like the patio, and we're like, okay. We never sit out there, but okay, whatever. And so we asked like the waitress, like the hostess person, if we could eat out on the patio, and she's like, yeah, let's go unlock it and stuff, because like no one was eating out there. No one, I guess, usually eats out there. So she unlocked it and stuff, and then she told the waitress, a waitress, that we were out there, so she would come out to us. She went out there and she took our order for our drinks, and then she was like, hey, I got, or she like looked down at my neck and stuff, and then she was like, did you just get your surgery done? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, I had mine done too and stuff. And like, it was like weird because that's a fourth person that had thyroid cancer that I ran into. And I was like, okay. And so she told me her story. Now she got thyroid cancer when she was pregnant, and then she couldn't like treat it and stuff until after she had her baby because it would interfere with the pregnancy and everything. And that's just like so weird that like it's the fourth person. And so she was like telling me that her medicine, like she adjusted and everything, and that was like a while ago, and like she was okay and stuff, and that things get better. So that was like another comforting story. One of the elders of my church, he asked my pastor's wife if I sing, because I was on like the prayer list at my church and everything, because they found out that I had cancer. This was before I had the surgery. And so he asked my pastor's wife if I sang by any chance. And like you guys probably know, I have a YouTube channel for like my singing and stuff. And so my pastor's wife was like, yeah, she does and stuff. And then the guy was like, I heard from God that she will sing again after the surgery and stuff, and that it's just a bump in the road, and that she will get past this, and she'll be back to singing for your glory, for God's glory. And like I mentioned before, there's like a chance for damaged vocal cords. And I was like, what? That's like crazy that he knew I sang, and that God told him that I sang, and that I would be singing again for God's glory after the surgery. Like, that's just, it blows my mind. And like, after the surgery, my voice, I tried to sing like high, like, because I'm a soprano one in choir, which is like the highest voice you didn't know. And so like, I was afraid that I wasn't going to be able to sing like that again and stuff. And then after the surgery, I couldn't, my voice was there, but every time I tried to sing high, like my voice like wouldn't come out and stuff until like 2 weeks maybe, 3 weeks after the surgery and stuff. And then it finally came back, and then I was singing. And ever since my surgery, my voice has gotten stronger when I sing, and I can actually sing a lot better than I could before, which is like another God moment there, you know. Another way that God was in this is that we had like a team bonding for my sideline cheer team, which is like football cheer, and we were all at one of the girls' houses, and then we were all like telling our stories and stuff, like what happened to us and everything, like our like deepest, darkest secrets, like kind of that. And I wasn't going to tell anyone about like the cancer, because it was like a week after I found out that I had cancer, and so I didn't want to like tell anyone until like after I had the surgery and stuff, because like I didn't want them to make a big deal out of it and everything, or for them to be worried and stuff. But then they were like telling all their stories and everything, and then I was like, okay, I think I need to tell my story, because they're opening up to me, and I think this could be like an opportunity for me to share God with them. So I told them about like the cancer and everything, and then like all of them were crying, I was crying and stuff. And then after that, I was like, one of the other girls on my team was a Christian, and so she decided to pray over me, so we all prayed over me. And then after that, me and the girl that prayed over me, we decided to lead everyone there to Christ, so they all got saved there, which was awesome. And it was like so cool, because I've never like led that many people to Christ before at once, especially like, you know, over like the cancer and everything. So that just gave me like an opportunity to like lead people to Christ and show them God and everything. I got the phone call from the doctor that I had cancer. She heard a voice say, "For I know the plans I have for Selena," and that is like the scripture Jeremiah 29:11, where it says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope in the future." And I just read that off my picture frame up there. If you haven't seen my picture frame is, go watch my What I Got for Christmas video. But yeah, so that's like what Jeremiah 29:11 is. And so my mom heard God telling her, like she heard an audible voice say, "For I know the plans I have for Selena." And like she knew that I was going to be okay, because it said plans to prosper you, not to harm you. So I knew that I was going to be healed from it and stuff, and I wasn't going to like die or anything like that. They told me I had to go home Thursday, but then my levels were low. So then Thursday night they kept checking everything, giving vitamins and everything, And then they said maybe you can go home tomorrow and everything. So I was like, alright, cool. So Friday morning came and my levels were still low and I was like getting really upset and everything. And then they kept just giving me vitamins and stuff, and it was like really painful to like wait in the hospital because you don't see daylight, you don't see a lot of people and everything, and you have to lay there the whole time and you get really bored. So I finally they found out that the reason that my calcium levels weren't rising is because my vitamin D was low, and that they're codependent on each other, I guess. So they started giving me vitamin D, and that was on Friday night. Then they said Saturday morning that they were going to check my vitals again, and if they were good, then I could go home. So that morning, they checked them, and then they were good, and it was like, they said I could go home Saturday afternoon. So that was 3 days after my surgery. So Wednesday was the surgery, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, that's when I could go home. And I was so happy. And then my mom realized that it was 3 days that I could go home, and it took Jesus 3 days to resurrect from the grave. So what a coincidence there. You know, I don't know. It was like it's really cool to like, you know, I don't know. That was just a mind-blowing moment. My levels weren't rising, you know, like I said. So my mom was texting her friend, and her friend told her to do communion and stuff, and I was like, communion, okay. So that's like, if you don't know what that is, like where you take like a little piece of bread and some like grape juice or like apple juice or anything that you want and stuff, and then you like remember Jesus like from the Last Supper and everything before he died on the cross. So that was on Friday. Fridays when my mom brought that guy from my church that said that I would sing again. He came down with communion from my church, and then he brought his daughter, and they both came, and then they gave us all communion and everything, and then we all took communion. And then that next Saturday morning, that's when they said that I could go home. So that was like, whoa, that was so cool and stuff. And it was like really cool that they came down there just to see me and everything. And then one more thing happened. Later that night after communion, it was like probably 12 or something, and all of a sudden, it was like we were just like watching TV, my family was, because my sister and my dad came down, and so all of these nurses like came rushing in and stuff, and they're like, "Are you okay?" And they're like panicking. We're like, "What do you mean? We're fine. We're just watching TV." And they're like, "We just wanted to make sure because the power went out." And then they realized that the power was still on in our room, and we're like, "The power is not out. What are you talking about?" And then they said that the power was out in every other room except for ours. Like every hallway, every part of that hospital, the power was out except for ours. And I was like, God is with us. That was so cool. And then the final thing, after my surgery, we went to go get the full body scan, and we went to get like the full body scan was to show if I was cancer free or not. So we were waiting for the results after the scan, and they pulled us into a room, and then they closed the door, and the doctor that was analyzing the results said that it was the best thyroidectomy she'd ever seen, and that my surgeon was working with the hands of God, because there was no trace of thyroid cancer left in my neck and anywhere. And she said that it was definitely of God. It was definitely God's work. Like, he definitely had his hand over me and stuff, and that there's no trace of thyroid cancer left. There's just a small little dot of thyroid tissue left that they wanted to get rid of to make sure. So they gave me radioactive iodine and stuff, and then that happened. And so that was like, I don't know, she said that I was 100% cancer free that day. And then afterwards, I wanted to pray with her and everything. I decided that before we went to get my full body scan, and so we told her that we wanted to pray with her before we left, and she said, "Okay, that's cool, I'm a Christian," and everything. So her and her assistant, we all joined hands and everything, and then we prayed, and then she asked me, she said, "What do you want to do for a living?" And I said I wanted to go into ministry. And then she said, "Bless your heart, you'll live till you're 90 years old." And so she was like another angel, because she had like a powerful voice and everything, and she was also like comforting during the whole situation. And so those were all my God experiences throughout this whole entire journey. I hope you guys realize that God is with you through everything, even like your worst like times. You know He's there for you and stuff, and then you use these opportunities as a testimony to minister to other people going through the same thing. So that's what I learned from this. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a like and subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!